All right. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back, folks, to the FF Face-Off. This is a fantasy football podcast, part of the Face-Off Sports Network. And yeah, we are coming to you live right now with some start-sit questions. If you got any players going this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, we got you covered. You want to talk about Friday? You want to talk about Sunday? Got you covered there, too. All the start-sit questions, fire them into the chat, and we will answer them. I'll also tell you, go to fffaceoff.com for all of your fantasy football, NFL sports betting needs. My dog is jumping on the bed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So feel free to like, subscribe, enjoy this content. My name is Michael Hopp. You can follow me on X at the FF Realist. I'm joined by Ryan Miner, who can be followed at Ryan Miner _FFB. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you guys? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving indeed. Happy Turkey Day. Hope you draw some hand turkeys, eat a lot of food, drink some beverages, have a good time. And yeah, have a good time with your pen, too, your vape. And that would be leading me to Mr. Anthony Savino, who could be followed, the real NFL guru, the ever-handsome, the ever-charming, the ever-charismatic. Anthony, sweetheart, how are you?
Doing good. Happy Thanksgiving and nice football slate today, and we have a game tomorrow. We're getting to that time of year where we're going to start getting Saturday games, too.
Yeah, the only shame of this Thanksgiving is that the Cowboys didn't sign Daniel Jones to start him against the Giants. That would have been poetic.
That would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
That would
have added some juice to that game. So, all right. So I did see we had some questions come in early on before we went on air. So I'm just going to go to those first. Zach Linton was the first person here, of course, as always. What's up, Zach? Happy Thanksgiving. Neighbors or BTJ? Ryan, what says you there? You going with Neighbors today or going with BTJ this weekend?
Oh, that's a tough one. Just because seeing that Drew Lock is going to be the one that's starting at quarterback, I feel because we don't know the status on Trevor Lawrence yet. Still, right? He's not going to be back this week, correct?
They were
still waiting here. Yeah,
he logged limited practice on Wednesday. Right. We don't know anything else yet. They haven't ruled out surgery, but again, since he's not ruled out for this week, I think he's up in the air to play. But I wouldn't bank on it.
All right, if we're not going to bank on it, I'm definitely going to keep with Neighbors just because he gets that target share. And I mean, last week was kind of like a scary week because it was first half he basically had nothing, and then second half is when he got all his targets. Hopefully this week he gets the more of the target share again because he had 6 targets last week. So good for over 12 PPR points. I would still go Neighbors just to be on the safe side of it, just because we know for sure that he has a quarterback that I think I can trust in Drew Lock more than I can trust in Mac Jones.
Yeah, I'd probably go Neighbors as well. Both are a little dicey, BTJ being dicey because of the quarterback, like you mentioned, but I'd still go Neighbors. Anthony, you allude to this a couple times yesterday, talking about Neighbors and his attitude, and he only had, 3 good games. We got to get back to that, though, right? Like, isn't he too good for this to keep happening?
I mean, he is, but the offense holds him back. You know, this is not a player thing. This is an offense. This is why I was kind of out on Neighbors going into draft season. And that take, like when I said Ladd McConkey over Neighbors, it looked bad through the first month. Yeah. But then reality said a couple of, the offensive line injuries is what set the offense back. You can't protect the quarterbacks, and it's imploding. Neighbors has not had a single actually he had 1 red zone target last week. It was his first red zone target since week 4. And he's getting volume, but there's no, he hasn't been over 71 yards since week 8. So what's really salvaging his fantasy value on a week-to-week basis is the volume, is the receptions. I comped the potential Neighbor situation to Garrett Wilson. People thought I was nuts. Garrett Wilson last year had 160 targets, but there were lack of quality targets. So he was just a high floor player. And outside of that first month of the year, that's what Neighbors is right now. But I think I still use him here over Brian Thomas Jr. because the Brian Thomas Jr. matchup against Houston is nice. But if we end up rolling the dice on BTJ and we get Mac Jones, I don't think it's going to be very nice. I'd rather have Trevor in that matchup because he's more battle tested.
Sure. All right. Well, we do have super chats coming in, 2 of them from the same person. I will just mention that helps you cut the line, guys. Then we answer your question first come, first serve. Fredo with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Fredo. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Hope you have a great holiday. Evans, Lamb, Sutton, Neighbors, McConkey. He needs a wide receiver 1 and 2, also a flex spot. I'll tell you right now, mine are Evans, McConkey, and I would still go with Lamb. So those would be my plays. I do like Sutton this week, but not enough to play him over those 3 options. Anthony, I'll go to you first, and then Ryan, you're on deck. But Anthony, you got to pick 2 and a flex.
So Evans, Lamb, Sutton, Neighbors, McConkey.
Mm-hmm. I think you're gonna. I think
this is tough because they're all productive receivers.
Yep.
Who does Denver get this week? They get Cleveland.
Yeah, Denver's playing the Browns. I believe that's a Monday night game.
Yeah,
too.
I think Sutton has to be one. Sutton's playing like lights out football right now.
Over Lamb? Yeah. Because I'm putting Evans and McConkey in without thinking.
Evans and McConkey. Evan gets so Evans is definitely one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's cut and dry. I love Lad McConkey this week.
Yeah.
I think Neighbors could potentially be a sit here, but like Cortland Sutton, if you look at Sutton's numbers in the past, 5-6 weeks, he's a wide receiver 1,
especially last week
too. Over 19 PPR points in all but one game, and his low game was 14 against Atlanta. He's gone over 23 PPR points twice, couple of 100-yard games, couple of touchdowns, and the volume is there. Over 9 targets in 4 out of 5, and over 8 targets in all 5. And now you get Cleveland, and that's a pretty leaky secondary. I think I would keep rolling the dice on Cortland Sutton. So I go Evans, Sutton, and it's between Lamb and McConkey. I guess, Lamb is obviously he's like Neighbors right now. Like what I said about Neighbors, and he's going to get volume, but what is he doing with that volume? Like if you watch these Cowboys game, it's literally CeeDee Lamb touching the ball, and it's almost like every play. But last week against Washington, 10 for 67 on 12 targets, 16.8 PPR points. Like he's going to need to score to really pop in the 20s, and that's what we really want and need from CeeDee Lamb. Now, on the Lad McConkey argument, no J.K. Dobbins. That tells me they're going to have to throw the football more. They're going to try to establish the run with the guys they have, but they're not as good of running backs as J.K. Dobbins. This offense stalled when he got knocked out of the game. So, I don't know. It's really close between CD and Lad. I think I'm going to lean. I think if you want to play it safe, you go CD Lamb. But against the Falcons, I think McConkey's a ceiling play.
It's a juicy matchup for Mr. Justin Herbert. Ryan, what says you got to pick 2 and a flex? What are you thinking?
I for sure like Evans, like the same way you guys are going with. He's had 6 targets. He's coming back from that game. I mean, it's going up against the Carolina Panthers, who give up a crap ton of yards to opposing offenses. I mean, look how good Patrick Mahomes was last week. 3 touchdowns. Same with the receivers. But it's Mike Evans. It's hard to bench him. He needs so many yards to get that 1,000 yards again. Try to get that 10 touchdowns. I still go with him easily. I'm definitely going CeeDee Lamb also, just because of the target share he gets. Yeah, they might not be the best targets, but back-to-back games, he's had 12 targets. So for PPR, he's for sure a big hit for me because he hasn't seen anything less than 6 since the game against Philadelphia, 6 receptions. I'm sorry, but I mean every other last 5 games, well over 10 plus targets. And then for the final one, I got to keep it going with Cortland Sutton. He's just a touchdown volume machine. Bo Nix is looking for him heavily. He's had no less than 8 targets. Last week was his actually 2 weeks ago, 8 targets. That was his lowest target share in quite a while. Basically over that, he's seeing at least 10 every game. So Bo Nix is looking for him. He's an easy red zone target for him. Those are the 3 I'm going with.
Yeah, I could probably be talked into doing Sutton over Lamb, to be honest. But McConkey and that matchup with the Falcons and Justin Herbert is just too juicy for me. I can't ignore it. Fredo with another super chat, $5. Thank you, Fredo, sir. Then we have another super chat after that. He says McBride or Otten. This one is we had some arguments yesterday about Trey McBride, but I'm doing Cade Otten here. It wasn't good last week, but the Giants are pretty good against tight ends. He's got a good matchup this week going up against the Panthers. Panthers are one of 3 defenses with 4 games of allowing 20 points or more to the tight end position. So it's Cade Otten for me this week. Anthony, are you going Cade Otten or are you going with Trey McBride?
This is really close to the point. Like, if you didn't have many good receivers, I would say use both tight ends, but we can't do that. Oh, wow.
Arizona's going up against the Vikings.
Yeah, and then Otten gets Carolina, the easiest matchup. I think it's going to be like, I'm going to play the matchup here. And I hate just playing the matchup because sometimes, like with Dawson Knox a few weeks ago, that doesn't work out. But Otten's a much better tight end. That offense is clicking right now with Baker
20%
Mayfield.
target share, too.
You know, and McBride, he's been over double-digit PPR points in every game since week 5. The volume's there, but, the matchup isn't. This is actually a better matchup for Arizona wide receivers than it is for McBride. So, yeah, I'll go Otten. I'll roll with you here.
Ryan, are you are we doing a tripod here? We all going Cade Otten.
It's a clean sweep here because the Panthers actually give the most fancy points to the tight end position. And as much as we love Trey McBride, he's a PPR machine, still waiting for that touchdown. He has 61 receptions over the 10 games. It's insane, but yeah, it's hard to set Trey McBride, but yeah, based on performance and the matchup, I definitely feel Otten the same way.
All right, we got some more super chats piling in. Superman wants to know, $2 super chat. Thank you, Superman. Tyreek, Pickens, DJ, and Adams. Pick 2. Thank you, good sir. Anthony, to me, DJ Moore jumps off the page. I like this matchup today. I think he can produce against the Lions. I also should also say what I like more, though, is the change in offensive coordinator. Things have been looking up for DJ Moore. I'm going to go Moore, and I'm going to go, what kind of world are we living in? I'm going to go Pickens. I like the way he's played with Russell Wilson under center. Tyreek, if you're starting Tyreek, you're starting him based on name value. If he had a different name and was giving you the type of performances that he's been giving, you're probably not starting him. He's probably not even a thought in this question. The only reason why has a seat at the table is because his name is Tyreek Hill. So I would go DJ Moore and I would go Pickens. Anthony, what says you?
DJ Moore is going to definitely be one in his entire career, portfolio. Against Detroit, DJ Moore, he absolutely crushes the Lions. That includes a couple of games when he was with Carolina. DJ Moore has had a touchdown in all but one game. He's gone over 96 yards 3 times, over 127 yards twice. And then his 2 games in Chicago, 6 for 68, 1, 7 for 96, and 1. So I definitely going to buy back into DJ Moore for a 3rd straight week. He looks good with the new OC change. So does Caleb Williams. The tough one is, I'm not doing Adams. It's between Tyreek and Pickens. And Pickens gets Cincinnati. It's a leaky secondary. Now, the Jair Alexander being out, that does entice me to lean Tyreek Hill, but I'm a little bit worried about Tua in the weather. That is a narrative, and that is a real narrative. So I'm going to go George Pickens because I kind of need to see Tyreek Hill get back on track before I just say, okay, he's Tyreek Hill. We got to throw him in. He went for 19 in week 11 against the Raiders, but since Tua has been back, outside of that game, he's under 13 PPR points in every other game.
Yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely I'm going with Pickens here. I mean, yeah, last week he didn't have quite the game we wanted, but with that snow out, it was kind of obvious. But Russell Wilson definitely looks for him, especially in the red zone, especially in the end zone. So I'm definitely going with Pickens there. I can't get behind any New York Jets, to be honest with you guys. Trying to go with Adams, trying to go with Garrett Wilson. They're wide receiver 3, flexes at best. Tyreek Hill is so far from performing compared to what he did last year. like in my panic meter video, basically he needs to average 12 receptions, 204 yards, and about 1.6 touchdowns the rest of the season to come anywhere close to what he performed last season.
That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, and I just don't see it happening today because being up in Green Bay, it's ice cold. I don't know how Tua's gonna react. Definitely the warm weather, the humidity. Definitely you play a lot different compared to ice cold games. Ball gets thrown different, especially when you're left-handed. As I always like to tell people. And
are you left-handed?
No, I'm not left-handed, but the ball rotates differently.
Okay, I'm left-handed.
When you throw it right-handed, it rotates clockwise. Left-handed, counterclockwise.
Before we get to our next super chat, Anthony, do you know the greatest left-handed quarterback of all time? Do you know who that is?
It's probably a 49er since you're bringing it up.
Yes, it is.
Jeff Garcia? Jeff Garcia?
No, Steve Young, you prick. That's all right. Another Superman super chat. I'm assuming he's saying Taysom Hill or George Kittle. He said Taysom Hill of Kittle, but I assume he means pick one of these guys. So we're
by the way, before I just want I don't know if anybody listening or any of you guys have a DraftKings sports book. I just got a notification. There's a Turkey Day Super Boost CD Lamb to get 40 yards at plus 100. It's the normal line is minus 6,100. It is an NFL Super Boost, and it's plus 100 right now.
I will be skating on that.
That'll
happen. Okay, thank you for that. But yeah, if we're asking Taysom Hill or George Kittle, I'm going Kittle here. When he's healthy, he's missed 2 games this year, but he's only had 1 game with less than 10 points. He's had 4 games of over 20 points. I get the allure of Taysom Hill, but I'm going to go with the consistency of what I've been seeing from George Kittle this year, which doesn't always happen every year, Anthony, which has been well documented. But this year he's been more consistent than he has in a while. What says you here, Taysom Hill or George Kittle?
I'm going to go Kittle. This is the most consistent I don't know if we've ever seen Kittle this consistent, meaning normally I call
maybe
Kittle,
that first breakout year.
He's a great best ball tight end. That's not the case this year. He's consistent and reliable every single week. Even last week with the quarterback change, I took his yards and I took his touchdown and he came through. He's the guy in this offense. Debo's not reliable right now. CMC doesn't even look right. George Kittle is the most reliable player on this offense right now, no matter who the quarterback is. So I'm going to go George Kittle over Taysom Hill. I get Taysom Hill, the recency bias, he went off. If you look at Taysom Hill historically, he's either going to give you, 16 points or 6 points. Sometimes he'll pop for more. But, I don't know. It's just hard for me to just throw him in there over a guy like George Kittle, thinking, okay, he's going to go off again. There's no guarantee. Do we see another 3-touchdown game? Do we see another 2-touchdown game? Right. Alvin Kamara is on a touchdown route. You don't think he wants to get back into the end zone?
Agreed. Ryan, what says you? Taysom Hill or George Kittle?
I'm going to clean sweep here with George Kittle. You got to start Kittle just the way he's performing lately. It's already been said. He's been what? Every time he's been playing, he's been well over 8 PPR points. So you can't go wrong. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games he's been in there. He's had at least 15 PPR points. So you can't go wrong on that point. And just like, Anthony said, with Taysom Hill, you could either get the huge game or the floor game. And every week, it's not, you never know when to start him. And to me, Taysom Hill is that type of tight end you put in where you don't, if you're like a late round type of tight end drafter, because there was no one else there for you. So we're going to clean sweep on George Kittle here.
I will just encourage folks to like this show. We got a good number of people in here. We do have another super chat, but I also wanted to mention we are doing a jersey giveaway. Very importante. Let me get that off the screen. Let me throw this up here. Little NFL jersey giveaway. Winner will be drawn on Christmas. The winner gets their choice of an NFL jersey from Fanatics at $129 value. How do you enter? Got to subscribe to this lovely YouTube channel. Send us proof of subscription on social media or email us at fffaceoff@gmail.com. If you're already subscribed, you can't subscribe twice, of course. Just send us proof that you're subscribed, and that's it. You're good to go. You can join the party too. So there you go. Little
can I win the jersey?
Yes, but only if you get a Cooper Rush jersey. That's it. That's the only way we allow that to happen. You're kind of boxed in there.
How about a Trey Lance jersey?
You could do
There you
that.
go.
Yeah. There you go. Another super chat. Ryan, this is going to be music to your ears because you were just besmirching Jets wide receivers earlier. So I'll go to you first in this one. Start 2, Garrett Wilson, Malik Neighbors, or George Pickens. I think we know who the first guy is here, but Ryan, I'll kick it to you. Who are you going with here? Got to pick 2.
I'm going with Neighbors and Pickens, just like I said earlier. Aaron Rodgers does not look the same to me. He looks like he's done. He's cooked. They're trying to, they're trying to get Devontae Adams the ball more often than they should. Just Aaron Rodgers' favorite receiver. Garrett Wilson is a lot better overall, I think, as a player, but they just don't want to give them the ball. They don't give them the good fantasy point routes that I like to see. So Neighbors and Pickens for me.
Anthony, how about you? I'm going with the same, but Anthony, what says you?
I think Pickens has to be in there. You referenced, I think Ryan did, that Cleveland game. Pickens had a touchdown. He lost it in the snow. I think it was thrown a little bit behind him in a red zone. Like, Pickens is used every which way in that offense. And obviously that's what Russ does well. So we got to put him in there, especially this could be a higher scoring game against Pittsburgh. It's between Neighbors and Garrett Wilson. Like, I view these guys very similar, and I don't think it's, again, this is not a cut and dry thing. He's come off of 2 cold games, but Wilson overall has been good this season. They get Seattle coming off the bye. I guess I feel safer with Neighbors, but I do think this is a nice bounce back spot for Garrett Wilson. I just trust Neighbors more because I already know, like, we know he's going to get volume. We just don't know when Wilson's going to get his volume, because if you look at his game by game, his targets are all over the place. But if he gets volume, he shows up. We just don't know if he's going to get that against Seattle.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. All right. We got more super chats rolling in. Appreciate all the support today, guys, with the super chats. We'll get to the other questions eventually. I'm sorry, but when we get super chats, it's first come, first serve. Fredo coming in again with a $5 super chat. Matthew Stafford or Patrick Mahomes this week. Mahomes is playing in the Black Friday game against the Raiders at home. Matthew Stafford is going up against, where are we right now? They're going to be in New Orleans. I'm sorry about that. They'll be in New Orleans on the later slate on Sunday. I'm going with Pat Mahomes here. He's been very slowly starting to heat up a little bit, starting to ratchet up some 20-point games or damn near close to it. So Mahomes is the answer for me. Anthony, where are you going? Stafford or Mahomes this week?
I do like this spot for Matthew Stafford. He's been playing a lot better. Obviously, he has all of his guys back. He's over 20 fantasy points in 4 out of his past 5. And now we got some really nice matchup against the Saints, but I can't sit Patrick Mahomes right now. He's over 3 touchdown passes in 3 out of his past 4 games. He's starting to look like the old Patrick Mahomes a little bit. And now you get the Raiders. Bo Nix just shredded the Raiders. So, what is Patrick Mahomes going to do with this team? We're starting to see a little bit of a breakout of Noah Gray, who I think is going to be the heir apparent to Travis Kelce. You just have, you got Juju coming back now. He's back in the lineup, and he's the 3. He was their number 1 earlier this year. You have Pacheco coming back. This Chiefs offense is going to start looking dangerous. So I'm all in on Patrick Mahomes. The only thing, the one thing bad about the Chiefs offense is their offensive line. I do think if there's a liability there, it's the O-line. But that's not going to stop me from throwing Patrick Mahomes out there in this matchup. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, make it a clean sweep. I'm going Patrick Mahomes. What was I going to say?
Oh, before you go, one more nugget on the Chiefs. I don't know when, but there is a rumor that Hollywood Brown's going to be back in the regular season. So if he's on waivers, go pick him up. Stash him in your IR spot.
Ryan, proceed.
Yeah, but I got to say, the Raiders, they give up the 8th most fantasy points to fantasy quarterbacks. Like you said, Bo Nix had a big game. Week prior to that, Tua had a big game. And the week even prior to that, Joe Burrow had a big game. So These games were 20 plus fantasy points already. Patrick Mahomes already had 22 points against them back in week 8. So I'm definitely going with Mahomes on that one. Which makes more sense.
There you go. Let's move it on here. GK over on the YouTube. PPR, Kraft or Ingram? Eek, I don't like either too much. Bucky or Walker? I don't like the tight end question. I would probably go with Tucker Kraft only because I don't know what's going on with the quarterback position with the Jaguars right now. I would really love if he had a better option there. But that and Bucky would be my answer. Those would be my 2 plays. Anthony, what says you?
I'm going to go Bucky. I like Kenneth Walker a lot. He has not really looked the same since earlier this year. And earlier this year, like Walker looked like he was going to be in the midst of a breakout ever since the injury and then the DK injury. The offense doesn't look right. He doesn't look right. So Bucky Irving, he looks like he's taking over that RB1 spot, 18 touches, including 6 receptions on 6 targets. That's usually what Rachaad White does. So and then you get Carolina. I think we're going to start seeing, like I said, a shift to Bucky Irving to be the guy in this backfield. If they ever do settle on one back, it's going to be him. The hard part of this question is Kraft or Ingram. Kraft, like he's so hard for me and maybe a lot of people to project. He doesn't get a lot of volume. I was out on him last week, but the issue is he got 2 targets, he scores. That's like a normal stat line for him. He doesn't need a lot. Like they just look for him in the red zone or he'll make a play. Miami's pretty leaky against tight ends where they're number 1 against wide receivers. And on the other side, you have Evan Ingram, and we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. And Evan Ingram, what has he done? He's been okay, like 3 straight games under 10 PPR points. These are games where, okay, Evan Ingram's going to be the guy because there's no Christian Kirk. He's getting volume, but he's not doing anything with it. So I think if you want the high floor option, you go Ingram because he is going to bring you like that 8 to 10 range at a minimum. But if you want to go ceiling, I think Tucker Kraft has more ceiling built in. Right. I don't really like either.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I see where you're coming from, Anthony, on that, especially on Tucker Kraft. I mean, last week, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 26 yards, 8 touchdowns. He was also that second reception, a yard short of that touchdown before Josh Jacobs punched it in. But he is basically touchdown or bust. I mean, week prior to that, he had 1 target, nothing. 2 weeks before that, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 34 yards. Week prior to that, 3 receptions, 78 yards, a touchdown. So very huge, touchdown boom or bust there. Where Evan Ingram has more target share because no Christian Kirk, no Gabe Davis too. Let's not forget. He's seeing 7+ targets. Are they going to be good quality targets? Maybe, maybe not. But you're hoping for an end zone type of move here for Evan Ingram. I'm going Ingram just because of the target share he'll get. The Tucker Kraft just makes me way too nervous. And then Bucky Irving is coming up and along as of right now as the RB1. It looks like. But I don't know if I want to be fooled. I mean, it's 2 games of 12+ carries, over 70 yards, a touchdown in both games, and he's on a hot streak compared to Kenneth Walker, who's been more on a cold streak. He's not very efficient with his carries, but I'll stick with the hot hand here and go with Bucky Irving on this.
All right, there we go. Let's get to. We have 2 more super chats. Super chats keep rolling in, so appreciate the support, guys. Adam Neekin. Coming in with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, kind sir. Gus Edwards at Atlanta or Jacoby Myers at Kansas City. So are we taking the opportunity of Gus Edwards? I am not. I'm going with Jacoby Myers in this one. Chiefs they were doing pretty good against wide receivers, but over the last 3 weeks, they've allowed at least 40 points to the wide receiver position, 3 straight weeks. So, and I do think that they're going to need to throw. They're going to be losing this game. Yeah, it's going to be a little chilly out, but I don't think the weather is supposed to be god awful out there in Kansas City yet, at least from what I've seen. So I'm going to take the opportunity of Jacoby Myers over the opportunity of Gus Edwards. Anthony, you look like you're going to disagree with me.
I don't like either one of them, but like Gus Edwards, if you remember Gus in Baltimore, he was a career over 5 yards a carry guy. That's the benefit of running in the same backfield as Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
Gus Edwards here with the Chargers, Herbert's mobile, but they're not. You're not getting those same rushing lanes. You're not getting those same holes. He scored last week, but I think he had like 9 carries for 11 yards and a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins, there was a reason why they leaned on him. This offense hummed with J.K. Dobbins leading the way. There's no Dobbins this week. I am viewing Gus Edwards as a touchdown-dependent player. If Gus Edwards doesn't score, he's probably going to give you like 8 fantasy points in PPR. He's an empty in the backfield when it comes to, PPR receptions. So, yeah, I'll go Jacoby Myers. The quarterback change worries me, but is Aiden O'Connell that much of a downgrade from Gardner Minshew? Probably not.
No.
Is Ritter? Probably not. So I'm going to stick. I don't think so, but
Right.
I'll stick with Jacoby Myers. He is the outside of Brock Bowers. He's the only other competent pass catching target.
And by the way, Anthony, just to your point, talking about the yards per attempt that he was having in Baltimore this year with the Chargers, 3.3.
Yeah.
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 So
In Baltimore, he was like, I remember that year, he and Dobbins were both like 6 yards a carry.
He had at least 5 yards per attempt until the last year with the Ravens last year, but it was 4.1. Still decent. But besides that, it was 5 or above yards per attempt. So
I know we have anybody going to watch that Madden documentary on Amazon? I'm fucking stoked for it. It's like a 3 or 5 part series about the Madden the video game. Yeah, and its history. That. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited. I saw Adam Schefter just tweet about it. So I'm like,
yeah,
let me bring that up.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I don't really give a shit.
I'll watch it for sure. My son. So, I mean, I get my ass kicked nowadays, but
yeah, I don't.
You got to get the soccer game. I'm obsessed with the soccer game.
Like, you got to try. You got college football 25. That's a fun game.
I'm 40 years old. I can't be playing Madden online with a bunch of teenagers cursing them out and getting my ass kicked. I can't be doing that stuff. That's
why I don't do it online. I just play against my son, and then I just yell at him.
I'll play the soccer online. You never know. And, I try not to talk to people, so I keep my shit muted. Mm-hmm. And it had to be a kid. All of a sudden, he starts DMing, like, through the PlayStation or soccer app. He calls her, "You're a trash player."
Wow.
I'm like, I could probably be your father, you prick.
You prick. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to do that.
You just get called trash. These kids call you trash. You're trash.
Ryan. Okay. No, good. You good.
No, all right.
You got more?
I'm venting. No, I was venting.
Yeah. That's why I had to get out of that conversation. You were getting a little emotional there. Ryan, what are you doing? Gus Edwards or Jacoby Myers?
Dude, I cannot go Gus Edwards at all. He has 1 touchdown in the season, so like Anthony said, very touchdown dependent, but he only has 1 on the year. He can only basically give you a handful of points, even if he gets all the touches. Against the Chargers, against Carolina, he had 18 touches for 59 yards. So you're looking at maybe 6 fantasy points tops, hoping for a touchdown at best. Jacoby Myers, on the other hand, has definitely been getting the targets lately, and they downgraded Aiden O'Connell. Is it, like it already been said, is it really a true downgrade? No one really knows. Last game he had 15 targets, 121 yards. I'd rather take that upside of a floor game of maybe 50 yards, 5 receptions. So that's 10 points there compared to Gus Edwards' 5.
We have another super chat coming in, and then I believe that's it for super chats for now. Michael over on the YouTube with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, kind sir. Happy Thanksgiving. Start 2 QBs. Jaden, Tua, or Love. He's got more on this question, but let's just quickly answer that. I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels being the obvious one. And I'm actually going to go, I know the weather's not great, but I'm going to go with Tua in this one, only because the Dolphins are giving up I believe the second fewest points, the quarterback position, 4 weeks in which they've allowed less than 10 points. And only 7 games in which they've allowed more than 10. So yeah, I'm going to go Tua here. Tua and Jaden. We'll go quick on this one. Anthony, what says you? Jaden, Tua, Love, need 2.
Jaden, Tua. So my issue with Love, and we talked about this a lot this week, 3 out of his past 4 games, he's under 24 passing attempts and under 14 completions. They're winning football games. If you remember Rodgers' final few years in the LaFleur offense, they were run first, playing good defense, and Rodgers was throwing efficiently. Last year, Jordan Love was airing it out. People are like, why are they throwing more with Love? than they were with Rodgers. Well, the defense was bad last year. Especially, the defense took a step up. They bring in Josh Jacobs. We're starting to see Jacobs hum a little bit, and we are starting to see Love make less mistakes because he doesn't have to sling it as much. So that's my issue with putting Jordan Love out there over Jaden or Tua. So Jaden's a must. And as I say that, my issue with Tua is this offense is now running through Devin Achane and not so much through the wide receivers. And now it's Tua in bad weather. It is a narrative, but it's a narrative until I see otherwise. We need to buy into this game is in Green Bay at night. It's going to be cold. Yep. So all that being said, I think I'm going to still lean Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Even though he's not getting the volume, if this game does turn into a shootout, even though I don't see it that way, they're playing each other. I trust Jordan Love more in this weather game or a potential weather game.
Yeah. I'm taking the points allowed over the weather. You're taking the weather over that. It's fine. I could be talked into either on that one. But Ryan, real quick on that one, Jaden, Tua, or Love. We know Jaden's obviously one of them, but who's the other quarterback? So basically, you're picking one for tonight.
Yeah, I'm going Jordan Love on this one just because it's a home game. It's the Packers. It seems like Jordan Love seems to do a lot better at home. He wasn't needed as much last week against the San Francisco, only threw for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's going to be trying to set up the run game with Josh Jacobs still, but at the same time, there's no Romeo Doubs, so we can see Christian Watson and Jaden Reed look to score. And plus, I mean, if anyone's starting Tucker Kraft here, hoping for that touchdown upside, there's another point there also for Jordan Love.
He did also want to know, needs 2 running backs, Tracy, Bucky, Pollard, or Hunt. I'm going to go. I want to go Tracy here. And it's between Bucky and Pollard. Titans are going up again. Unless somebody answers me first. I'm trying to look. Who are they going up? Oh, Titans are at, Jesus Christ, load, will you? For fuck's sake. At Washington. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Now I'm gonna go Tracy and I'm gonna go Bucky Irving on this one. Anthony, you need 2 here. Tracy, Bucky, Pollard, or Hunt.
I'm gonna go Bucky. I don't trust Tracy.
You know?
He lost 2 fumbles in the past 2 games.
That's
put
true.
the ball on the ground 3 total times. After that fumble last week, we saw Singletary punch it in. I like Tyrone Tracy. But does Brian Dable like Tyrone Tracy right now? One of those fumbles 2 weeks ago cost them a football game. Pollard against Washington, he gets too, I'm at the point with Pollard, he gets way too much volume to sit him. Hunt, we know Pacheco's coming back. Great matchup. I can see, a 50-50 split there where Tony Pollard, I think he's upwards like 19.2 touches per game without looking. And even like last week, I don't think it was a great matchup. And he had the game of the year, over 20 PPR points for the first time against Houston. Washington's middle of the pack. I don't think that defense is necessarily as good as it was from like week 6 to week 11, where it was playing a little bit better. So I'll go Tony Pollard here.
Ryan, what about you?
I don't know how we can even start Hunt anymore. To me, he's more of a flex at best because he just isn't that efficient with those carries. If he's not getting in the end zone, he definitely doesn't hit. Yep. Tracy, ever since Andrew Thomas went down, that whole kind of offensive line has collapsed. So they're getting hit in the backfield a lot easier. Tracy, like I said last week, fumbled, but also fumbled in the game against the Panthers.
2 weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago in Germany. So with losing Andrew Thomas, that was a huge downfall for me to see Tracy fall from grace because I was looking at him like more of the Kyron Williams of last season, where he kind of comes in at the end and just destroys fantasy for us. Bucky Irving's on a tear. I'm going to keep running with him. And I'm also going to go with Tony Pollard on that one also.
I just realized I have a Red Bull over there. I got a Essentia water over there. I got a Dr. Pepper, and I got a seltzer. I have a lot of beverages over here.
You need smelling salt.
You do or I do?
You do. I always have mine.
Oh, all right. Well, all right.
I sleep with it in my pocket.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's anyway. All right. So let's get through this here. We got he needs 3 wide receivers, and then he needs a tight end. So let's make this snappy. We got another super chat, and then we'll keep on rolling. Evans, CD Lamb, McLaurin, DJ Moore, Juwan Jennings. I'm going Evans. I'm taking the volume with CD, even though I get it. And I'm going DJ Moore. I think he's going to pop today. Got a good feeling about that. Anthony, I see you nodding your head. Does that mean you agree?
Yeah, it's between like Evans a must, DJ's a must. It's really between CD and McLaurin. Jennings, the only way I use Jennings if I knew definitively that Brock Purdy was going to be under center. But we can't count on that. And so it's between McLaurin and Lamb. Lamb, there's less volatility. I know McLaurin on paper, he looks like he's having a great year, but he's had quite a few games under 30 receiving yards, and he would have went there again last week if it wasn't for that end of the game touchdown. Yes, it counts for fantasy, but that was a fluky touchdown where Dallas, hey, it's like their defense was like, no, you tackle him. No, you tackle him. He has 80 more yards to go. Somebody else is going to do it. And nobody did it.
True.
If you watch that play, like nobody gave a shit about tackling him.
Yeah. All right. All right. So that's
I'd rather go. And then it's Tennessee. He's probably going to be locked up with I'm drawing a blank on the corner's name, Snead.
Yes. Ryan, what says you?
Yeah, Snead definitely has a shutdown corner. It's kind of hard to throw on him. Jennings, Anthony said, Brock Purdy back, but is it really Brock Purdy or is it missing Trent Williams? Because it seemed like that whole entire offense just kind of stumbled without Trent Williams.
It's both.
Yeah, exactly.
But I trust Purdy over Allen, and it's not close.
I've dedicated about a half hour of my therapy sessions to the 49ers now, so that's where I'm at with that. But anyway, all right. So you're going with who then, Ryan? For the wide receivers?
Yeah, CD Evans and DJ. Just like you guys say, McLaurin.
Yeah.
Too many times, especially last week, the 86-yard touchdown. So 86 yards on one play. He only had 102 yards receiving to help him at the end. So basically, it would have been back-to-back games of under 30 yards, and that would have made it 3 out of the last 4 with under 30 yards too, if that would have happened last week.
Anthony, do you not have the cowboy helmet behind you anymore?
I do.
Oh, I just saw the Giants one. I didn't see the cowboy one.
You gotta wait.
So, because that would be like next level pathetic.
It's next to my Pomeranian toy.
That's adorable. Okay. The last one he had here was Otten, Disley, or Andrews. This one's quick and easy for me. I'm going with Kate Otten. Mentioned it earlier. Love the matchup against the Panthers. Anthony, stop reaching for stuff. Answer the question.
The Undertaker. Okay. He's down. He needs to raise up.
Well, okay. Anyway, you can work on that later. What do you say here with the tight ends? I'm going Otten here, which is pretty easy for me.
I love all three. But Otten has the matchup. I like all three. But Otten is where I'm going to lean for this matchup. Again, like this whole Disley situation, he has a really nice schedule down a stretch. Depending on how long Dobbins is out, I think they're going to be throwing the football a lot, which is good for Disley. Andrews, he's just hard to bench because how much they use him. But again, we're looking at Kate Otten. Bounce back game, easiest tight end matchup. They were gashed by Noah Gray for 2, and I think this is a nice spot for Kate Otten to get back on the map.
Ryan?
Yeah, clean sweep. Let's go ahead and go with Otten. If you're really super desperate, I would go Disley just because that passing game should open. So if you need a savior right there, like you're looking at a bounce back game to give you that fancy point, I'd go over with Disley. And then Andrews, he's just so touchdown dependent. Looking at him, how he really is. He leads the team in touchdowns with 6, but still, it's like you're hoping for that touchdown or else nothing happens and you get 5 points.
The next question we have another super chat coming in from Mr. C Dog, $1.99. Thank you, kind sir. Laporta or Taysom Hill, and Terry McLaurin or Juwan Jennings. I am going to go with here. Give me Laporta and give me Terry McLaurin. Anthony, you're scoffing at that. Why?
I think this is one of the rare times. Like, we've had a lot of Taysom questions. I think I'm on Taysom Hill here.
Finally.
Yeah, like I don't trust Sam Laporta. And the matchup is middle of the pack. Like the Bears are elite against wide receivers. They're a little bit leakier against tight ends. but like Laporta, something's off with him this year. I don't know if it's because Jameson's more involved. I think maybe a lot of it, and I have to get the numbers. Are they even more run heavy this year than they were last year? Because the Lions defense took a massive step up and they're just playing more ground and pound and defense. But I don't know, Laporta against the Bears or Taysom. I think Taysom might be the play here over Laporta. Because if Laporta does not score, if you look at his box scores and his fantasy production next to it, every game he's in the double digits, he's in the end zone. If he doesn't score, he's in the single digits. And I think that Taysom has a higher floor than Sam Laporta. I'm not going to bank on a touchdown here. Watch he fucking scores. But
speaking of tight ends, you remember that time you told me Dallas Goedert would be better than Brock Bowers?
Okay. How many times? What's your career record against me in fantasy? It's like bringing that up.
Don't worry about that. That's not important. I just asked you a question. Don't get upset about it. Did you pick Terry McLaurin, Juwan Jennings?
I will go McLaurin here.
And then while Anthony tries to scour the internet to find out our record in fantasy to shove that in my face,
I'll go to Ryan. 6 losses since I've known you, by the way.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Ryan, Laporta or Taysom Hill, and then Terry McLaurin or Juwan Jennings.
I can't play Laporta. I mean, me being a Lions homer that I am, he's just so hard to play. You know, he can get you a handful of points. He can get you nothing. Taysom Hill, same upside. But I feel like his ceiling is so much higher than what Laporta was compared to how it's been all season. So give me the ceiling of Taysom Hill. And then Jennings just seems to be the wide receiver one there in San Francisco for me. And I've moved on from Deebo Samuel and everyone else. Terry, you know, we already talked about him being so like hit or miss, you know, being lucky on the 86-yard touchdown last week. So I'm going Jennings on this one.
All right, fair enough. I had said over and over again throughout the summer that this was going to be Deebo's last year with the Niners. I didn't think it would be shaken out like this, though. And then lastly, we do have a super chat, but there's nothing in there. It's just a $1.99 super chat. So
you might have a question that he asked earlier that he's trying to bump up, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know where that is. I'll tell you this, Tony. If you ask it, I will answer it, because now we're back to regular chats. Oh, wait, I wanted to ask. Oh, there he is. Good job, Anthony. JT, Tracy, or Monty, pick 2. Anthony, where are you going with here?
Monty, for sure.
Yep.
In a revenge game, you know, even if he's a little bit banged up, I think he gets 1 at least. And then the whole issue is putting the ball on the ground the past couple of weeks. JT has been ice cold, but I think this is a nice bounce back spot. So I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, agreed. That's where I was going to go with. Ryan, where are you going in this one?
We're going clean sweep on it, man. You know, Monty's definitely going to score a touchdown today, so be happy with that.
All right, we got rocking out.
Oh, we have more for Tony. Tony has it's like a multiple. He said he's tech illiterate.
Okay.
So rock out and Jay will get right to you. We answered the running back part. He's tech illiterate. Wide receiver, he's leaning DK over McLaurin.
I would be doing that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we talked about this a bunch already with Terry McLaurin. Kind of saved his day with that big touchdown. I'm going to go with DK on that one. Then he says, tight end, I'm going Laporta only because he's playing today, and I think he's close enough to Hawk.
Well, number-wise, they are 88 to 87.
I'd go Hawkinson here.
I'd go Laporta.
I'd go Hawkinson.
We are. Okay. You guys want to do a pizza bet on that?
Hawkinson this week versus Laporta?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be I know. I'm not willing to go that far. I think I'm in enough pizza debt.
Yeah, that you are.
I'll go with you, Hoff, on it.
Oh, here we go. Fuck yeah. All right, let's do it. Pizza bet. Done. In the books. All right, so that was it for Tony, right? Tony's done? All right. Yeah. Rocking out with his you-know-what out on this happy Thanksgiving with a $1.99 super chat. He asks us, Ladd McConkey or Jameson Williams PPR. I just can't. I'm going Ladd McConkey here. We talked about it at the top of the show. The matchup going up against the Atlanta Falcons should be a good game for the quarterback, Justin Herbert. I think that bleeds into Ladd McConkey as well, of course. I can't trust Jameson being consistent, but I could sure as hell trust Ladd McConkey in this matchup. So Ladd McConkey it is for me. Anthony?
I'm going to go Lad here as well. JMO, we know he's volatile. I like JMO in a lot of spots. Just this Bears secondary is really good. Meanwhile, Lad McConkey, I've been saying it since we found out Dobbins is out. I think they're going to be leaning on this throwing attack even more. Then they get the Falcons on top of it. They've been leaking points to wide receivers. This could be one of the better games of Lad McConkey.
Ryan, what says
Yeah,
you?
Lad McConkey to be consistent. JMO is definitely like so boomer bust. I mean, he can get you a huge play or he can drop it right out of his hands. That's the hardest part of it. So play it safe, go with McConkey.
Then we got Mr. J. Wu coming in with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, good sir. He says, start Noah Gray or Wandell for flex PPR. I'm going Noah Gray here. If you look at the target share throughout the season, Travis Kelce had, I believe, a 20% target share. I have the numbers here. Give me that. Just give me 1 second. He had about a 20% target share. No, 26. Noah Gray had 7. Last 2 weeks, though, Kelce has 18%. Noah Gray has 14. So Noah Gray has been getting targeted more and more. We've seen it in the results of the fantasy points, and the matchup's good too against the Raiders. I believe allowing the second most points to tight ends. So it's Noah Gray, and it's pretty easy for me. Anthony, you look like you're in agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Noah Gray this week. I think this week we're going to see Kelce and Noah Gray both put up double digits, and they did that last week. But, I was saying it earlier about Kansas City when we were talking about Mahomes. Like, this offense is starting to look loaded again. Now, a couple weeks ago, earlier this season, even last year, it was, okay, let's take out Travis Kelce. Now you got to take out Kelce, Hopkins, Pacheco. Like, there's a lot of guys there now, and Noah Gray is going to get the lesser coverage every single time. So I'm all in on Noah Gray. I think he continues his touchdown run to 3 games this week.
Ryan, do we have yet another clean sweep, or are you going Wandell?
I'm going Wandale on this one just because for PPR, you're guaranteed the touches with Wandale in some way, shape, or form with getting at least 5-6. Are they going to be good quality? Who knows? I mean, Noah Gray's on a 2-game touchdown streak, back-to-back games with 2 total touchdowns. Yeah, last week he had 66 yards. Outside of that, though, he's been very 30 or less receiving yards to receptions. It's very hard to go with Noah Gray. I'm going to go on the safe side here with Robinson in my mind.
I get it. I don't hate it because it is, it's risky.
Yeah.
But he is being targeted on 44% of the routes he is running, shockingly enough.
We can always rely on our resident troll ATL to come in with a super chat that means nothing to what we're talking about. But Anthony, he does pay $1.99 to ask, where would rank the Nasty Boys? What am I ranking them against? What, all-time tag teams?
Not high.
Smelliest people.
I wasn't a big Nasty Boys guy.
I will say I loved their theme music. I was down.
They were very, I don't know. I was never into the Nasty Boys.
Ryan, do you give a shit about the Nasty Boys? Do you even know who they are?
I have no idea who they are. I don't even watch wrestling at all. So
any
wrestling terms out of it, I'm so far out of it.
Well, we should have vetted you before we.
They were like a heel form of the Bushwhackers to me.
Yeah. Okay.
The Nasty Boys I thought was a rap group.
All right. Well, there you go. Fredo coming in with another $5 super chat. Bates or McLaughlin? I am the kicker guru, apparently, on this fine network. I'm going with McLaughlin. I like the matchup going up against the Panthers. I do like him rest of the season as well. I do like him in the fantasy playoffs. Bates will do well. Bates isn't exactly a pushover. I think both finished close this week to one another, but give me McLaughlin here. I think he has one of the better weeks in week 13. He's one of the better kickers in the week. Anthony, do you care about kickers?
I care about him, but I'll trust your input here.
Okay. Brian, do you have anything to say about kickers? Or
I trust your input, but the way Bates has been kicking lately, for the Lions, he's been kicking those 50-plus yard field goals. Dan Campbell, no fear putting him in there. So, for the bonus points that if you get for 50-plus, 40-plus yards, I like Bates just for that reason alone.
All right. And that will do it for the super chats. Finally. What do we got here? Yes. Pete said, Fredo with the 20th super chat. Yes, he does send in quite a few super chats. We appreciate you immensely, good sir. Let me see this. Let's just start from the bottom here. So if you have any questions that haven't been answered yet, we've had quite a few. So just pump them in, and then we will answer you. Start 3 here. Cook, Hall, Bucky, or Kyron. I think Hall is going to be the one who's going to be out only because we're not sure what's going on with him right now. that being Breece Hall with the Jets. Doesn't sound like he's going to play this week. So I think that's the obvious answer, right, Anthony?
I mean, he's not definitively out yet.
It's
But,
trending that
it's
way.
not like you have to make this decision ASAP. I think all of these guys are Sunday.
Yeah.
But, obviously, if Breece is out, you're sitting him. But against Seattle, if he's active, I think maybe I still sit Breece, honestly. It would be it's between Breece and Cook in terms of sits.
Because even my logic there is, even if Breece plays, what kind of version of him are we getting? Are we getting a limited one? So that kind of worries me. Ryan, are you in line with us, or?
I'm kind of looking at Cook there because in Buffalo, it's at home, outdoor game. There's gonna be a lot of snow, so who knows how that passing game's gonna work? It could be more of a Cook game on that one. And then I'm also going Kyron Williams on that just because he finally ended his 3-game touchdown streak and way back on it. So I think he gets another touchdown or two here in this offense with the Rams.
KJ Frederick did come in and ask, what are some of y'all favorite prop bets for this week? I haven't looked at them a ton yet, but I'm probably, honestly, I'm going to take a look at Cooper Rush passing yards. I think that could be sneaky depending on what the number is. So I might take a look at that. Anthony, you did mention that big super boost bet. What was that? Neighbors over 40 yards?
No,
Neighbors, I'm sorry.
CeeDee Lamb over 40 yards on FanDuel. It's boosted from -600 to +100 with a max bet, I think, of 50. So that's obviously I would just max that out. He, I don't know what can go wrong for him not to get it, but it's also the Cowboys. But you're still going to make that bet. I think the best value on the board today, number one, is Devin Achane. For as hot as he's been, he's -120 to score, depending on your sports book. I also like DJ Moore scores in 4 out of 5 games against Detroit. He's also gone over his yards line. I think the yards line is set right around 54.5, and then the touchdown odds are +240. So I think those are some nice value plays. And then the biggest value play, I don't think it's a lock, but Caleb Williams over 1.5 touchdown passes is between +160 and +180, depending on your book.
All right.
I don't think it's a lock, but I kind of like those, to get those type of long odds for 2 touchdowns. And he's playing good football. Lions secondary is kind of leaky. So I'll play that as well.
Someone's been doing their homework. Ryan, do you have any bets you like today, or?
Yeah, I'm looking at the lines right now. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdown, -175. Dave Montgomery, -160. And I'm adding Amon-Ra St. Brown +100 in a parlay there just for this afternoon. Amon-Ra gets back in the end zone. Both running backs will be definitely scoring.
Anthony, let's get to another question here from Jamie. Bateman or Tillman?
Isn't Tillman out with a concussion possibly?
Yeah, that's what I was
might
going to
be
just
out.
look up.
I was probably going to go with Bateman anyway. So
yeah, he's still in a concussion protocol.
Yeah.
If he's active, it's Denver. The only I kind of like maybe Elijah Moore this week, Jerry Jeudy. I don't mind them, but Tillman's been cold ever since his run, ever since the bye week. So if you need a Browns receiver, I don't mind going with Elijah Moore or Jerry Jeudy in a revenge game spot. But Rashad Bateman, he's going to be my lead.
What about you?
Yeah, clean sweep.
There we go. All right. We got Toyin asking Garrett Wilson or Rico Dowdle in half point per reception. As gross as it is, I'm going Rico Dowdle here. Ryan, you kind of intimated this earlier, talking about the Jets wide receivers. Can't really trust them. I can't, in good faith, play pretty much anybody on the Jets right now. So, I mean, it's Dowdle, and it's by default. Ryan, what's his you?
Yeah, Rico Dowdle by default, just because he's going to get the carries, the opportunities. I think his bet's like +2.5 receptions right now, and he's been over that last couple of games. So Dowdle's just because he has that touchdown upside. Garrett Wilson, you're hoping for anything, something better than what he's been doing lately.
Anthony, what do you got, man?
I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. The matchup is there for Rico Dowdle, but I don't know. Like, how much do we trust the Cowboys right now?
Is this your Cowboys pessimism getting in the way, or is this actual real?
But like, if we look at Dowdle on a game-to-game basis, like outside of that Steelers game, what has he done? He's not, like you would think he's going to be a high floor guy. He has had
Donald had 19 attempts last week for 86 yards.
Yeah, to 12.8 PPR points. And they seem to cap him a little bit sometimes. Like that game against Houston, that 12 touches, they took him, they were starting to give it to other backs. He had 15 touches against Philly. Like, I want Rico, just because of how poor this offense is, he should be getting 20 touches a week. They don't have anything else in that backfield. But I guess, like, Rico might be the safer play, but I don't know. I'd rather go Garrett Wilson here. I can't trust anything in Dallas right now outside of maybe CD Lamb and that defense.
I could trust Dallas more than I could trust the Jets. So that's how I look at it. But we got Fredo coming in with yet another super chat. Thank you, kind sir. Evans or McConkey for flex. Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. And appreciate all the love, the super chats, the support. Appreciate it a lot. This time I'm going with Mike Evans. I'm going with Mike Evans going up against the Carolina Panthers. Both have great matchups. We've discussed this already. But I like Mike Evans here, back in business with Baker Mayfield. I think it's a big week for the tandem. Anthony, what says you here? Both good matchups. Where are you leaning?
I'm going to lean Evans. I like Ladd McConkey a lot, but Evans' second game coming off the injury. It's a familiar opponent in the Carolina Panthers, and I think this could be a big game for Mike Evans. He hasn't had one yet this year. He had that 8 for 94 and one against Philly back in Week 4. Had a solid game against Atlanta where he scored twice, but I think this could be a game where he puts it back all together. Again, he's chasing that 1,000-yard season.
Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, chasing that 1,000-yard season. He's 600 yards behind. So as long as he gets 100 yards every game going on out, he's got an opportunity to hit it. But yeah, definitely going to Mike Evans just because my Baker Mayfield stand, man. I love Baker Mayfield. He always looks for Mike Evans. There's no more Chris Godwin right now. So definitely Evans for me.
We will get to the next super chat in a moment. Did just want to jump in here. Movin's been in here asking this question a couple times. I did want to get to it. Full point per reception. We're picking 2 here, Anthony. Tyreek, Tracy, DJ Moore, Jaden Reed, Jamison Williams, Valdez Scantling, and the apple of my eye, Mr. Darnell Mooney. DJ Moore is definitely one of them for me. Anthony, where are you going here?
Yeah, I'm going to go Moore, and I'll go Moore and Tyreek.
Yeah, part of me wants to lean with the momentum Valdez Scantling has kind of been on last couple of weeks before the bye. That's a crazy world we're living in, man, where I actually said that out loud. No, but
I mentioned like Tyreek here. It looks like it's so hard.
I think I still play Tyreek here, but I will say this: this speaks to more so what Tyreek has done this year, not what Valdez Scantling's done, but it's close between those two.
No,
I could be talked into Valdez Scantling over Tyreek Hill. There, I just said it out loud. Now I feel dirty. I'm gonna go take a shower. Ryan, how about you?
All right, so we're clean. We're definitely a clean sweep on DJ Moore today, but I'm also gonna go with Jaden Reed here, just because I think that passing game is gonna have to do something, and they're gonna try to get. I think they're gonna try to get Jaden Reed open again, just because last few games he hasn't been. He's kind of come back down to earth, but I think this is definitely a nice bounce back game, especially with Romeo Doubs out.
Javier did send in a $1 super chat. There's nothing there, so Anthony, if you see it, let me know, because we do have another super chat, which I'll kick to Ryan first. But if you could see a question from Javier in there, just
right here.
There it is. Yeah, okay. Hill, Neighbors, Higgins, Mooney, Jacobs, Pacheco, Hubbard, Brian Robinson. He needs 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Hubbard jumps right out at me. So Hubbard's the play. I'm going to go Hubbard. I'm going to go Jacobs. Wide receivers, I'm going to go ew. Ew.
A lot of Tyreek Hill questions here.
Yeah, I'll go Hill. And I think I'm going to go Neighbors. Eventually this guy's got a hit, and maybe Drew Lock feeds him. So I'm going to go Hill, Neighbors. I'm going to go Jacobs and Hubbard. In a normal world, I'd go Pacheco, but with him just returning, he doesn't get the start. But actually, fuck it, he needs a flex. All right, I squeeze him in there. But yeah, he's my third favorite running back out of that group. Anthony, what do you got?
I'm going to go Hubbard, Jacobs, Higgins, Hill. And then for the flex, it's between Neighbors and Pacheco. And I think I like Pacheco this week, but I still think he might be limited touch-wise. Maybe he's 50-50 with Hunt. So I will lean Neighbors.
All right. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, definitely Jacobs at running back. Hubbard for sure. I have to go Higgins just because he's definitely getting hot, especially at the right time right now. Neighbors just because of the matchup. It's Dallas. And then I think I'll have to go Hill just for the flex upside and hope for the best on that one.
All right. We got another super chat coming in from the Weiss. Flex, PPR, Evans, McConkey, D-Hop. We kind of had a similar question earlier talking about Evans or McConkey. That's what it would come down to here for me. That's not to say I don't like DeAndre Hopkins this week. I actually do. I just like the other two options more. But again, it's Mike Evans for me and that matchup going up against the Panthers. Do you guys, I mean, again, we had a similar question already, but do you guys want to talk about D-Hop over Evans or no? Are you guys both going Evans?
No, I'm going to go Evans here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's potential there for DeAndre Hopkins, and the matchup's nice, and we do like Pat Mahomes to have 20 points again this week, but I'm going Mike Evans there pretty easily. I think that's it for our super chats for now. Let's jump back in. Let's roll to the bottom. Oh, Pete Nova says Noah Davis. I like Neighbors today over Ridley, so he's answering questions in there. Appreciate that, buddy. Get in there. Do your work. Do your job. Swalbo. Dalton Kincaid or TJ Hawkinson. I actually don't like either option this week. The Niners are free falling, but they're not giving up a ton of yards on a per game basis to tight ends. They did give up a touchdown last week to Kraft. I believe that was only the third touchdown they've allowed to tight ends this year. We also don't know. I mean, Kincaid, they're hoping he's going to play. I don't think he's been confirmed that he's definitely playing this week. I think I'd go Hawkinson here, but I don't love either option. Anthony?
Ooh. I'm going to lean Hawkinson over Kincaid. I just feel like he might be a little bit more reliable right now. Kincaid's been I would call him a bust this year. And I was in on Kincaid in the preseason, but it hasn't been working out.
Yeah, a lot of those top tight ends, it hasn't been pretty. So, Ryan, what about you?
It's ugly, but yeah, I'm definitely going to go Hawkinson on it. It's a tough matchup for both. And Kincaid has been more of a name this season than anything else. He hasn't been what we thought he was going to be like last year. So, Hawkinson just on that one.
Kevin coming in on the old YouTube, which, by the way, if you beautiful people are watching on YouTube, feel free to hit the like button, the subscribe button. Helps us out immensely. Also, we're doing a jersey giveaway, which I'll mention again in a moment. But, Kevin wants to know half point per reception. A lot of Lad questions today. Lad McConkey or Zay Flowers this week? Ingram or Otten? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, sir. Appreciate the support. I am going to go Lad McConkey here, and I'm going to go Cade Otten. We don't know what's going on with the quarterback position with the Jaguars. Even with that, I'd love the matchup for Cade Otten this week. So give me Cade Otten. Give me Lad McConkey. We talked a lot about Lad McConkey today. But Anthony?
Same.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep. Sweep. All right. We do have another super chat. Another kicker question. Love it. Gonzalez and Anthony, yesterday you said, who the hell is that? Zane Gonzalez.
I didn't say that.
Somebody said it yesterday.
It was Steve.
That was Steve?
Or Steve. It wasn't me.
Don't get so offended. You're so sensitive. Ryan, you see this? See how sensitive this guy is?
I know Zane Gonzalez played with Arizona for most of his career.
Ryan's going to be
bounced
nice
around a little bit afterwards, so.
Whatever.
I know my kickers.
All right. Calm down, will you? Jesus Christ. Go get a tissue. Zane Gonzalez, Jason Sanders, or Will Lutz this week. Anthony looks like he's looking at something. I'm going to go with Will Lutz this week. I'm a little worried about the weather there for Jason Sanders. Actually, Jason Sanders has done well, actually, in outdoor games in November and December. I believe he's only missed one field goal or two field goals, but he's nailed all of his extra points. That was over like a last 2 years I took a look at. But I still think I'd go Will Lutz here. Anthony, since you know who Zane Gonzalez is, and you were very upset by that, do you have a opinion?
No,
here?
I would stick to Lutz. I think rest of season, Lutz might be one of the better fantasy kickers. Zane, too, to a lesser extent, if Washington's offense can get back on track, because Seibert might be done.
Well, yeah, he's on IR again.
He's on
IR. So
right, but he might be. Is this like a season ender IR trip?
It sounded like it to me, based on what I heard. But and also, with the kicker questions, we do have some kicker videos there. I do have a playoff kicker video in the archive and kickers for week 13, so you could take a look at that. Ryan, you were in line with that too.
I'll take whatever kicker you guys talk about. That's fine.
All right,
I don't follow kickers deep enough.
Look, I love the kicker love here. Matt said picked up Matt Wright for the Chiefs. Yeah, I like that too. Raiders are allowing, I believe, the most points, if not their top 3 in points allowed. Let me see this. We got a Twitch question here. Flex Jaden Reed, Jerry Jeudy, or Gus Edwards? I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy, I think, on this one. It is a revenge game. I'll play that sound drop in a moment. But I go Jerry Jeudy, but it's close. And it's close between Jaden Reed and Jerry Jeudy for me. Anthony, can you make a case for Gus Edwards, or are you going with one of the wide receivers?
I think Edwards is too touchdown reliant, where Jeudy has been, past 4 games with Jameis Winston. 6 targets was a low point this past week, but he's still over 14 PPR points and 3 straight, over 12 and 4 straight. And it's a revenge game. I get the Denver matchup isn't great, but they're using him a lot. I think he's just too active in the offense to sit. Jaden Reed not getting enough volume for me.
Ryan?
One defense against fantasy receivers in Miami.
Yeah. Ryan, how about you, man?
With Amari Cooper gone now, it's Jerry Jeudy's wide receiver room to me. He's definitely the wide receiver one here. I'm taking Jerry Jeudy over everyone else.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Let me see. Just say, hey, you guys answered my question when I was on Twitch ad. Did we? I don't think we did. Where is it? Ask it again. I don't think we got to it, but ask it again, and then I'll pull it up. Let me see this. Let's go with Michael Hahn here. Says start Adunze, D-Hop, or wait for Smith availability. Siren emoji. I'm going DeAndre Hopkins here. I wouldn't even wait for the Smith availability. We said no to D-Hop in a earlier question. I believe that was with Mike Evans and Lambert Conkey. But here with this question, I'll go DeAndre Hopkins. Ryan, are you going Hopkins here, or are you waiting for the Smith availability, or Adunze today?
I'm going to Adunze today. I like him a lot.
All right. Anthony, what about you?
I don't hate Adunze. Given the matchup, they're using the wide receivers in Chicago a lot more, obviously, since the OC change. He has Odunze's over 10 targets in back-to-back games. He's just not doing a ton with it. Hopkins has been unspectacular. Outside of that pop game against Tampa Bay, he's under 9.6 in back-to-back games, gets on track a little bit last week against Carolina, 5 for 35 and a touchdown, 6 targets. So it's closer. I don't think it's like a lock. I will still lean DeAndre Hopkins, but I do like the volume Adunze is getting. It's just, are they going to, when is it going to all come together?
Sure. Anthony, what do you want to do? You want to do another 7 more minutes or so?
Yeah, let's go a few more minutes and lock up, because I got to do some traveling.
Okay. Well, I did get the question from Veets Skeets or whatever it is on Twitch. Start 2, potentially a third to use as a flex. Cooper Kupp, Zay Flowers, Juwan Jennings, Darnell Mooney, or flex Jonnu or Tracy. I have Kittle at tight end. Good for you. And Saquon H.N. at running back. Good for you as well. Good there. All good. Let me see this. So he needs to start 2. We could use one as a flex if we don't like Jonnu Smith or Tyrone Tracy. Cooper Kupp is the obvious choice for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I go Zay Flowers, and I actually think I flex Jonnu Smith.
Same.
Okay, cool. Ryan, what do you got there?
I'll flex Darnell Mooney.
You'll flex Darnell? Okay.
I don't hate it.
So So you're going to go Cup, Flowers, and flex Mooney?
Yeah, just because the tight end position to me is a hard one to flex if it's not like a tight end premium league. And I mean, yeah, Jonnu Smith's been on a hot streak, but I feel like Moody's going to be having a nice wide receiver 1 week this week.
I could just see Tua not wanting to air it out as much with the weather, being a little timid, and I think that would help Jonnu, on the lower side with those receptions. So give me Jonnu today. So that game's going to be interesting. Let me see this. What do we got here? Brian Perez says full point per reception. Tyreek Ridley, MPJ, MHJ, that being Marvin Harrison Jr. Pick 2. Anthony, what says you?
I will go Tyreek and Calvin Ridley. I like the matchup for Ridley, and Will Levis is throwing the ball better.
That's where I was going to go as well.
Yep, same here.
Good times. All right. There you go. Nice clean sweep again. Let me see. I think I've seen Jack in here a couple times asking questions. Let's get to this one. Start 2, half point per reception. Tight end premium looks like, right? TEP.
Yeah.
Dowdle, Flowers, Goddard, Stevenson, or Rashad White. We got a start 2 here. I'm going to go Flowers and Dowdle.
I'm going to go Ram and Rashad.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dowdle and Stevenson.
Wow. Okay. So we're all right. So we're all over the place there, but there you go. But yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps. Probably won't. Kyle Pitts or Tucker Kraft. I don't like the matchup for Kyle Pitts, but I still think actually, I'm going to think on this one for a hot second. Anthony, Kyle Pitts or Tucker Kraft. Again, we've talked about Tucker Kraft a couple times already. They're playing tonight, of course, against the Dolphins. Kyle Pitts is going up against the Los Angeles Rams. I actually will go Tucker Kraft here. Anthony, what says you?
Whew. I'm going to go Pitts. I think there might be. I don't like the volume for either one. I just lean Kyle Pitts. This Falcons team, they need to win. And I also think, look, they get the Chargers. Like this Chargers defense, they seem to be leaking some more points when it comes to throwing a football lately.
Yeah, they allowed 17.2 points to tight ends last week, but in the 2 weeks prior, you got 2.4, 4.8. There was another 14-point week in there, and then it dips back down. So a little bit volatile in terms of tight ends and what you can expect. But Ryan, what says you?
Yeah, Pitts doesn't really ever line up as a tight end, though. So, you look at the stats, you'll say, all right, the Chargers are very good against the tight end position. I think they rank 7th against the tight ends. So looking at that point, but Pitts is more of a wide receiver. Tucker Kraft's 2 touchdown dependent, but so is Kyle Pitts. But I think Pitts has the better game overall, so I'll lean with Pitts here on this one.
Let's go with Balls Deep Adventures. I didn't read that name before I clicked it, but now I'm glad I did. Jerry Jeudy or Juwan Jennings, Anthony, and how much do you love his name?
I do. I like the picture too.
Okay.
From Parts Unknown.
Thankfully, the picture doesn't resemble the actual name.
I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy and this is a Sunday. These are Sunday games. If we find out Purdy's up, then play Jennings. Otherwise, Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. If Purdy's active, sure. Matt, not Matt. Sorry, Ryan.
Ryan in a Matt suit.
Yeah,
I'll go Jeudy on this one still. I mean, I like Jennings also, but waiting and see. I think this would be a great Jeudy game.
All right, sounds good. And I did say Matt because I saw this from Matt talking about Matt Wright, top 5 kicker this week. Go grab him. Yeah, absolutely. Amen. All right, let's get to another question or two. Start 1 is coming from Smitty over on the YouTube. Start 1 PPR, Swift, ETN, Warren, or Edwards. Anthony, what says you?
I will go. Wow. I don't love it. I will go Swift.
Yeah, I don't love it either.
I don't like it at all.
I don't like any of these options, but I guess that's why he's asking, of course. But I would go with Swift as well. Ryan, are you not in love with these players either? And is it a sweep?
It's close between 2 of them. I like Swift, but I'm going to lean Warren just a little titch more just because I think he's starting to take over more of that backfield over Najee Harris.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We see. Thank you, guys. Have a great Thanksgiving. Yes, you too.
Thanks, you too.
You too.
And I'm not sure. Let me see. Starting Kyron and Achan and Kittle. Should I flex Taysom Hill? 10-man PPR. This is coming from Keith Tapp over on the YouTube. I would, yeah. Should he flex Swift or Taysom Hill? I'm gonna flex Taysom Hill here. I know I just answered Swift in the previous one, but I wasn't in love with those options, so I'm not really married to Swift here in this matchup. Ooh, by the way, the jersey's in the background there for Ryan.
Yes,
I'm gonna go Taysom Hill here, and that upside that we talked about earlier. Anthony,
I'll go Taysom over Swift here as well.
Ryan,
I'm gonna go Swift just because I think he'll be getting more. I think he'll be more of a pass catcher than a running back here on this one.
We have learned today that Ryan does not like flexing tight ends. That's it. All right, let's answer one more here. Nipolino needs one wide receiver and one flex, full point per reception. It's between Swift, a lot of Swift late in the game here. Between Swift, Debo, MPJ, and Njoku. Hey, Gonyo. Can we not start Debo?
I'm not.
Are we at that point?
I am at the point where I'm not starting Debo. I actually traded him away in one of my leagues. That's how bad I didn't want him.
No.
I'm gonna go MPJ. Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought that was Marvin Harrison. That's Pittman. Wow.
Yeah, this is a rough question. Given the options, I actually am gonna go Debo. I'm gonna go Debo on the idea that he can't be this bad for forever. And I would rely on that more than I would for Michael Pittman. So give me Swift and Debo, but I hate this question. Anthony?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably do the same damn thing. It's Debo or MPJ. I think it's Swift, and then it's Debo or MPJ.
Okay, Ryan, what says you?
I think I'll definitely go Michael Pittman Jr. He definitely saw more of the target share. Got to lead the team in targets and receiving.
I'll flip. I'll go Swift and Pittman.
And Josh Downs might be out also. So that will definitely boost Michael Pittman on this one.
Right.
Now again, these are both Sunday games, and I'll use the same thing. If Purdy is active, then I think we go Debo over Pittman. But if Purdy sits, then I'm very comfortable going Pittman against New England.
And I didn't even go Njoku over Debo Samuel, even though I don't like flexing tight ends, but I do it.
I can't do that.
Jameis Winston, man, loves David Njoku. He almost had a touchdown, dropped it right in the end zone last week.
Yeah.
Is that you just making up for the fact that I said that you don't like flexing tight ends? Is that what that was? So you had to get a tight end in there?
I had to get it in there.
All right. Well, you got it in. That's what she said. All right. I think that's going to do it for this Thanksgiving show, right, Anthony?
Yeah, let's wrap up. I got to travel. I got to get ready to put some more bets in.
Okay. Well, Ryan, appreciate you joining us, of course. Again, follow Ryan at RyanMiner_FFB. Also, check out his panic meter videos on the YouTube. That's good stuff. But yeah, so until next time, folks, stay thirsty, be kind to one another. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Happy Thanksgiving. Cheers.